time to see through the numbers. So if you haven't watched my previous videos, I suggest you do, so you get an understanding of gematria and how the global elite or the Jesuits or the Freemasons are using numbers to push their agendas, how numbers are majestic and that has been hidden from us. And I'm going to show you by the end of this video that the numbers don't lie, that coincidences to an extent do exist, but not to the level that we believe. So I'm going to start off with 9/11, which is clearly something many of us have questioned. The narrative behind it, how it happened, it was highly questionable. And what happened after it with increased surveillance, how the US was able to go to the Middle East, basically terrorize nations, take their oil, take their gold, and basically all in the name of freedom, or all in the name on war on terror. So let me get into the numbers with 9/11, because that's what it's all about. There's no point me discussing 9/11 for this whole video. But this little short piece I'm going to do on it at the beginning is basically going to clarify that it was all pre-planned by the numbers. So the world completely changed after 9/11. I was never truly convinced by the narrative that bin Laden was responsible for it. And it's clear as day that he was just a fall guy, and the numbers don't lie. On September 11, 2001, 9/11, Flight 77 reportedly hit the 77-foot-tall Pentagon in Washington, D.C. on the 77th Meridian West, after taking off at 8:20 a.m. and crashing at 9:37 a.m. It's exactly 77 minutes later. That was not by accident. That was a ritual. September the 11th, World Trade Center and Order from Chaos equate to 77 in gematria. And again, that's not a coincidence. And please know these are all facts, just the same as it is a fact that the Pentagon began construction on September the 11th, 1941, and it was just prior to Pearl Harbor, another event that was pre-planned and scripted and predetermined by the global elite. So yeah, look, the construction begins on September the 11th and it comes crashing down on September the 11th, not by accident. The World Trade Center construction began in 1968 in New York. The same year 9/11 was made the National Emergency Dialing Code. Interesting. It was also 33 years apart, and I will do a whole video on that number in the future, especially how it connects with the Freemasons and how the 33rd degree Freemason is the highest rank you can possibly get. I'll discuss the Masons later on in this video. I want to really get into the number 74, because this is a huge number. For most people, the number 74 is just a number. But for the occultists, the Jesuits, the Masons, 74 is a huge number. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why. So using simple gematria, notice each of these words here, simple, English, and gematria equals 74. But what is simple gematria? So if you look here, each letter has a value. A is the first letter of the alphabet, so it equals 1. L is this 12th letter, it equals 12, all the way up until Z. It's a 26th letter, it equals 26. So when you basically do this, so you've got S here, is the 19th letter of the alphabet, and then you've got I is the 9th, it goes on, it equals 74. So no wonder English is such a sacred language and why so many people want to understand it and speak it. It's basically the most important language in the world, I believe. Gematria is something people have probably never even heard of, or a lot of people don't even know what it is because we never learned about it. It was never in our education. It's something we should definitely have learned when we're studying math instead of just learning basic algebra or arithmetic or our times tables. Nobody taught us how important and how majestic and sacred numbers really are. So gematria is about pairing words together that have matching numerical values and logical relationships. For example, notice how Jesus, Messiah, Gospel, parables, and cross each equate to 74. Not a coincidence. I'm going to keep saying that in the video. It's not a coincidence. It's a very special number, as we will come to understand, or you guys will come to understand. If you are not familiar with the gospel, it is the story of Jesus, and when Jesus speaks within it, he does so in parables. So if you look here, they all equate to 74. They're all connected. Pay in mind to the fact that gematria is a component of Kabbalah, and the purpose of studying Kabbalah is to better understand the nature of God. The relevance of 74 can be understood by observing a Jewish rule about writing the name of God. A name that is best written GD as a form of respect. They take away the O. Unless it is written while studying the Torah or in prayer. So you've probably heard of the cable. You've heard of the Illuminati probably. Maybe not the Jesuits, but the cable, bring down the cable and all that Trump was raving on about. Well, they're the people that are basically running the show who are writing the script. You'll notice that G, so G is the 7th letter in the alphabet, and D is the 4th. You got the GD, and there we have that 74 connection. Also, the word Jewish equates to 74, as you can see here. For another 74, the spiritual leader of Islam, Muhammad, is a name equating to that number. And sadly, it's no coincidence that Muhammad Ali died at the age of 74. So Muhammad equals 74. That wasn't even his real name. Basically, the global elite gave him that name. And he's probably the most famous boxer of all time, the most iconic, the most charismatic. But when you have the Jesuit Order behind you and pushing you, you can go as high as they want you to go. Or, on the other hand, they can basically crush you. They can destroy you in an instant if you don't play with their rules. And these guys like Muhammad Ali knew that. One or the other. Get destroyed or play along and get fame and fortune. It's happening now with LeBron James. It happened with Kobe. He was sacrificed, I think, as I discussed in my first video. And again, if you connect all the numbers and you understand gematria and the numbers, it's hard to disagree. The fact the LA Lakers won the NBA championship on National Father Daughter Day, and Kobe and his daughter died in that helicopter crash, but there's way more. So anyway, these celebs, actors, musicians, they're all basically owned by the same people. They don't have their own voices. They get told what to say, what to believe, what to wear, what to push, and we go along with it because we respect them so much. Yeah, phenomenal talent, a lot of them, but they're the chosen ones, and a lot of time it's down to their numbers, or they're perfect candidates to push certain agendas. Another spiritual leader to some is Lucifer, some into 74 as well, and referred to as the morning star, not unlike Jesus. So Lucifer and Jesus, Lucifer's regarded as basically the devil, Satan, evil, and all of that, and Jesus the savior. But they're actually pretty similar when you actually learn about them. So there's a lot of Luciferians, these dark occultists. They basically believe that Lucifer runs the show, that this is his planet, and they want to do the work of Lucifer. And then there are other people, I think there's light occultists that believe completely in Jesus and the whole Bible. So there's a battle going on there between these light and dark Luciferians, which again, I don't know too much about, but it's happening. It really is. So in light of what we have uncovered so far about 74, consider that 7 is the 4th prime number, and the divisors of 4 sum to 7. Prime numbers are those that can only be divided by 1 and themselves. As for divisors, those are the numbers that divide into a number. For example, the only numbers that divide into 4 are 1, 2, and 4. And when you add them together, 1 plus 2 plus 4, it equals 7. So as I've mentioned, 7 is the 4th prime number. You get that 74 connection again. It's all connected. Building onto our understanding of 74 and how it is used ritualistically, we need to look no further than the Freemasons, one of many Masonic orders, or I would like to say demonic orders, that are based in Kabbalah, among other occult teachings. Washington, by the way, Washington, D.C., where basically this corrupt government is based, was named after Master Mason George Washington, which says it all for me. Washington was named after Master Mason, and this, he didn't even hide it. This is all over the internet. He became a Master Mason at the age of 20. Okay, as we decode the 74s in Masonic and occult, because these equal to 74, keep in mind you must believe in GD to become a member of the Freemason Brotherhood. You can't just become a Mason. You have to go through a lot of rituals. You have to basically sacrifice things, as far as I'm aware. You have to truly prove that you belong to that brotherhood. Otherwise, there's no chance that you're going to be part of it. Also, you could also almost look at it as like fraternities at college to an extent. But if you want to be a Freemason and a high-ranked Freemason, my word, you have to sacrifice a lot. You have to give up a lot. Also, bloodlines helps. Keep in mind the deceased Freemason Confederate Army War General, Albert Pike. Probably heard about him recently, or a few months ago, when there was this George Floyd ritual and how his statue got brought down. Well, this guy, Albert Pike, he made numerous mentions of Lucifer in his texts, Morals and Dogma. You can look into that. And that was immortalized in Washington, D.C. They love this. They love to make things immortal, basically last forever. And you can do that with a statue, as long as it don't get smashed down. So Washington, D.C. is known as the Masonic City for obvious reasons. And in this statue, Albert Pike's holding a book, and it was toppled down. And interestingly, Donald Trump declared it to be re-erected. Donald Trump, for me, is a 33-degree Freemason, highest rank, extremely powerful. I think his whole family were Masons. You can't be a regular guy and get to the top. I really don't believe that. Right to the top, you either have to have the bloodline, you have to be part of a secret society, you have to sacrifice something or someone to get there and stay there. So I think Trump is a high-level Mason. He basically dominated New York, didn't he? He dominated New York. His dad did before that. And that's not allowed to happen unless you have contacts of the highest level. I'm not saying hard work doesn't bring success, because it does, but I'm talking real top power, control, influence. You need to be part of a society. So Masonic equals 74, occult equals 74, as I've mentioned. For the record, modern Freemasonry began in London in the year 1717. London, capital of England, equals 74. It's also interesting that the United States celebrate their independence on July the 4th, which can be written 7-4. And it is a national holiday, and holiday equals 74. So, yeah, it can be written 7-4 because July is the 7th month. It was the 4th day of the month. Another 7-4 connection. Celebrate Independence Day. Independence, yeah. So much independence. Furthermore, the second, third, and fifth presidents of the United States, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and James Monroe, all died on July the 4th. So 3 of the first 5 presidents of the United States all died on July the 4th. This is not a coincidence at all. They were killed. They were sacrificed. And they probably knew they were going on that day. I'm starting to believe they actually know their given day when they're going, and they sign up for it in order to have power, control, again, almost to be immortalized. You're going to learn about these presidents all the time in your history classes. They're immortalized forever. So killing equals 74. And I find that extremely interesting. Julio Caesar was stabbed to death on March the 15th, 44 before Christ, which was the 74th day of the year. Caesar won influence in the party for his reformist ideas and aided Roman imperial efforts by raising a private army to combat the king of Pontus. Sounds like POTUS, doesn't it? In 74 before Christ. So he was stabbed, as far as I'm aware, it was 23 times. There's a number, there's a connection with that number, the fact that he got stabbed 23. Stabbing equals 74. He was stabbed to death. Again, another person who's been immortalized that we still talk about in school. Donald Trump is currently 74 years old, so I would not be surprised if he was killed in the near future before he becomes 75. We've seen it in The Simpsons where he's assassinated. And I've said before, The Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad, all these shows, they basically foreshadow future events. Because these dark occultists, these Masons, they have to reveal their truth, but they try to do it subtly. So unless you're really looking out for it, you're not really aware of it, and they'll do it through entertainment, especially comedy, light-hearted comedy. Like I said, so The Simpsons perfect. You have the animation, you've got the comedy, it's well written, but a lot of the times they're basically foreshadowing future events. Again, you can do a whole video on predictive programming, foreshadowing future events on those type of shows, but save that for another time. And I'm going to end it with 46 here. So this is a big number recently, and it's connected to Joe Biden. So Trump conceded Biden as president the day leaving 46 days left in the year. Again, shows you how scripted it all is. Joe Biden, the 46th president-elect, 46, and his son died at the age of 46. And I've told you about sacrificing and rituals to get what they want and to stay where they are, to get to that next level of power and control. Well, president's pretty high, isn't it? And his son dies at 46. He's possibly going to be the 46th president of the United States. Biden will be the second Catholic president. The first one was the famous JFK, who controversially died or was assassinated at the age of 46. So JFK died at 46. Catholic equals 46. He was the first Catholic president. He died at that age. By the way, the term conspiracy theorist basically came about after the assassination of JFK, because a lot of people questioned his death, but then the term conspiracy theory came out, so made people feel silly. Anybody who questioned it was basically ridiculed. By the way, the term conspiracy theorist, that's going to disappear very soon because the truth is coming to light. And anybody who continues to use that term, I don't feel sorry for you, but you're not putting in the work to gather the knowledge that's right in front of you, because it's there if you want to find it. It's there. They show you it, they reveal it, they tell you it. But again, so many people are indoctrinated, programmed by the system that's been basically designed so they can basically get what they want, this global elite, and we just play along with it. I don't care if that's the social identity, taxes, the government, elections, scripted sports, whatever it is that we go along with. Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. Is it? Is it? No, it's perfect for them, isn't it? Do your 9 to 5, your 40 hours a week, pay your taxes, live for the weekend, go get drunk, gamble on fake sports, scripted sports. They're not fake, but they're scripted. And repeat, and repeat. So we've got this whole system. You're born, you go to school, you get your first girlfriend or boyfriend, you graduate, find a job, you get married, you have a kid, you buy a house, you work a little bit longer, you retire, and then you die. And so many people fear death. You shouldn't, because we never die, guys. The spirit, the soul of us never dies, just a physical vessel. That's it. Don't be afraid of death, because they've done a great job of that. Also, let's get back to this 46. There are 46 books in the Old Testament of the Catholic Bible. Do you realize that the first openly Jesuit Pope, I think this guy's an imposter, honestly, Pope Francis, and you just have to look into his recent comments, which I'm not going to get into. You can look yourself. First Jesuit Pope, and his birthday was exactly 46 weeks to the 2020 election, exactly. Not by accident. Pope Francis is having a big say this year on a lot of things. Okay, you connect his numbers with the election, you connect them with sporting events, you can win a lot of money. I know I've been winning a lot of money by using his numbers and Jesuit numbers, Catholic numbers. Like, for example, in the NFL this weekend, it left 46 days left in the year. And that allowed me to win a lot of money by knowing that and making connections with certain teams, numerology, all of that. Of course, the Saints are going to win with 46 days left when Catholic is 46. There's all sorts of stuff. When you study these numbers, you can win a lot of money. And I'll continue to do so until it all gets revealed that it's scripted. Just like WWE was seen to be real and factual, and the best wrestler was the world champion, it all came to light that it was all scripted. And I've mentioned this before in videos. You've got Raw and SmackDown. Raw is red, SmackDown is blue. It's just like Republican and Democrat. We need to combine those colors to make purple. Okay, there needs to be that middle ground, but purple is a sacred color. It's a sacred color. Look at the royal family, they all wear purple. The Pope wears purple. Back in the day, only members of the elite social circle were allowed to wear purple. It was actually illegal to wear purple if you wasn't a certain rank in society. So yeah, look at the Matrix, the blue pill, the red pill. It's just ridiculous. And Trump, he mocks the world by calling the election rigged. This is basically a perfect example of it. They reveal the truth. They're telling you it's rigged. Trump is saying it's rigged. This whole thing's rigged. But obviously we see it as it's rigged against Trump. Biden is such a fraud. What a joke. Playing their games. It's outrageous. He's telling you it's rigged because it is. Selected, not elected. Your vote doesn't count. Stop fighting with people who are Democrats if you're Republican and vice versa. It's just a whole puppet show. And these puppets, Obama, Trump, Kamala Harris, Bush, Clinton, people before them, is puppet masters pulling their strings, telling them what to say, what to do. And then we listen to these people for some reason. We need to bring down the government because it's an absolute disgrace.